Good evening. My name is Sarah McKenna, and I'm here tonight to speak to you about teacher standards and the education evaluation system that the district will be using for our teachers in the 2016-2017 school year. As we all know, educator standards are extremely important for success in our classrooms and in the district as a whole. And so I'm going to be speaking a little bit about each of the individual standards that the district has taken on this school year for everything from elementary to high school. The first thing that we're going to be looking at is ensuring that students are actively participating and are successful in the learning process. It's extremely important for students to be an active participant in their education, whether that means for elementary school students to be participating in their student-led parent-teacher conferences, or whether it be for high school students that they're creating and implementing SMART goals into each of their classroom learning experiences. For students to have accountability and to have a little bit of ownership in their education means that they're going to be invested in that education and become more successful overall. So it's very important for our teachers to understand that if we can have students actively participating in their education, they are likely to be more successful. The second standard that we'll be looking today that the district has implemented is teachers providing learning opportunities that support intellectual, social, and personal development for all students. Obviously, it's extremely important that teachers are supporting the intellectual development of our students, challenging them with critical thinking and challenging coursework. That the rigor is completely focused on students just going beyond what they already know and learning new things. But we also want to look at social and personal development. In more recent years, we've learned that these are extremely important skills that some students may need additional supports in so that they can feel college and career ready after they leave high school. This means that we're going to ask students to collaborate and work in groups and to think outside of the box, doing more project-based learning and using the skills that they have, those soft skills, with each other so that they can really take those into the workforce. Our third standard that we're going to look at is that teachers are actively seeking out opportunities for their own professional growth in order to improve learning for all students. Teachers certainly can't just stand by the wayside and not go out and seek new opportunities for learning. So we are going to ask teachers to look for professional development opportunities on their own, meaning that they may look for something that's subject-based. An ELA teacher will go out and look for opportunities to learn about literacy and English learning programs. Science teachers are going to look for programs where they can participate in projects and experiments and learning within the science classroom so that they can be more professionally versed. All teachers will be looking for professional development and how to work with students with different learning styles and all the different things that students need from their teachers, and regardless of the subject matter. And the district will also be offering lots of professional development opportunities regarding technology and project-based learning and all of the new educational concepts that are coming into play in the 2016-2017 school year, particularly with our new blended courses and our new Innovation Center, which is going to be offering students a lot of hands-on and project-based learning. The next educator standard will be teachers using professional communications and interactions within the school community. It's very important that we are in contact with our stakeholders and the community that supports our school district, and that when we're in contact with them, we're using professional communication. The district as a whole is looking at revamping our websites and communications digitally with our community, and we're going to ask teachers to do the same thing as a district, meaning that the expectation is that teachers are going to send out newsletters and show highlights of the things that are happening in their classroom, have that constant communication, consistent communication with parents and stakeholders within the community. And the district will be backing that up as well by, again, revamping some of those digital communications, and then also making sure that we have a prevalent face in the community with our communication and working with those people who support our district. The next standard is going to be that teachers provide and create a positive learning environment that encourages active engagement in learning, the positive social interactions that we're looking for in self-motivation. So this means that teachers are going to look for new and improved opportunities to allow for students to have positive learning. This may mean that we change things up as far as how our classrooms are normally structured, the way that they look physically, and the way that we use our time. But we're going to ask teachers to really engage students in learning, focus on all the different aspects of learning for students, the different styles and different techniques that we use, and those tools that teachers should be using to work with our students. The next thing that we're going to look at is the teacher evaluation system. And in our district, we've chosen to go with the Network for Effective Educators, which simply asks for a simple and powerful method in which to evaluate our teachers in our district. The pieces that are going to come along with the NEE, or NEE for short, are first classroom observations of teachers, a unit of instruction which will be provided by each teacher, professional development plan provided by each teacher, and then finally student surveys. Now, these classroom observations are going to look a little different than they have in the past. Our district has typically looked at 2 to 3 meetings with the teacher for the duration of the class period, in which an administrator comes in and sees everything from bell to bell, and then is able to follow up with staff after each of those meetings or each of those observations, so that the teachers can really see what those administrators thought. Now, the process is similar, that administrators will still be in looking at teachers' work as far as classroom observations, but at this point, those observations are going to look a little different. And that is that the administrators will be in 6 times during the year for roughly 10 to 20 minutes each time, seeing just a portion of the classroom, and these will be all unannounced visits so that the administrators can come in and see a very natural part of the classroom, and they can use that as a guide for the instruction that those teachers are doing. Each of those 6 observations will be followed up with a teacher and administrator meeting in which they will discuss pros, really positive things that happened during that, and then also places for constructive criticism or places for improvement. The unit of instruction will be submitted through the NEE website. This will look at particular lessons that a teacher plans to do within a unit, and those will be evaluated for strengths and weaknesses as far as reaching all of our students in lots of different diverse areas of the school, the different strategies that are being used by teachers within their classrooms, the materials and resources that are being brought in and used while the teachers are teaching those units. The professional development plan will look for SMART goals, which can be easily evaluated for improvement with the students' learning and the effectiveness of the teacher within the classroom. So the PDP will be based around those goals. What is it that those teachers want to achieve? All of those will be looked at and evaluated by an administrator, and of course, any questions will be taken to administration. And then finally, student surveys, in which we actually will survey several students from different classes that that teacher teaches, using that information to provide some really valuable firsthand experience from those students for that teacher about how they feel in the classroom, what they're learning, and how effective they think that learning is. So the primary focus for our NEE evaluations will be indicator 7.4, which looks at active participation, success in the learning process, intellectual, social, and personal development in students, and positive learning environment. The actual indicator says that teacher monitors the effective instruction on the whole class and individual learning. So some things that we'll be looking for are the active participation. Are students engaged? Are they listening to the teacher and engaged in the conversation, raising their hand, working with each other, having that active communication? We'll see some success in that learning process with different goals being met, with assessments that have gone positively for those students within that teacher's classroom. Personal development in the students, are they able to set goals and achieve those? Do we see progress in their learning from the beginning of the school year and throughout? And then is it a positive learning environment? So do the students feel comfortable? Do they seem to be learning and feel good about the things that are going on in that classroom? Some advantages for the administrators in this particular piece are that there's some training that is provided to evaluate teachers consistently. So with the NEE process, this is very much so a, a non-subjective. It's more aligned to specific standards that administrators can look at, and they're able to use that objective look at the training and use that for the teachers that they're looking at. This means that the scores for teachers are clear and transparent, so a teacher knows exactly what a particular number reading means, and then they can look at that feedback and use that to improve. The system is designed to be fair and trustworthy. So because teachers won't know about these, they can come in, The administrators can come into the classrooms sort of as a surprise, but in a good way, because the teachers and the administrators are both able to see some very natural classroom occurrences happening. Teamwork is instilled as the practice is to improve classroom practices. The idea behind NEE is that we see progress. No one's perfect, and administrators understand that, and now we're looking for great ways to make awesome educators even better. There's an emphasis on coaching. Again, that goes back to improving classroom practices. So rather than just getting a number and moving on, how can we be better? There's a web-based system for easy storage, so the administrators are able to easily upload scores and feedback for our teachers, and that's going to be held in the database through NEE. And then obviously the information that's generated is going to be genuine and useful to teachers and administrators to help improve the teaching process. As far as the advantages for teachers go, there are several. We see that there are going to be frequent observations followed by relevant feedback. So in the past, when there have only been 2 or 3 different observations, teachers can go several months in between those and not necessarily know what the administrators are seeing in their classrooms and getting that feedback. And we believe that with the NEE that the district is going to start implementing, that teachers will actually receive frequent and consistent feedback from their administrators. There will be recognition of effective teaching between scores and the feedback that the administrators will be giving to our teachers. They'll see a lot of different feedback that'll be great for them. There'll be an emphasis on growth and improvement. So as I said before, the district is looking at NEE because this process is really about growth, and teachers will get to see over and over again throughout the course of the school year, just how much they've grown in the different indicators that they're looking at. And that's going to be the real emphasis, is what are we doing better? Professional development targets are specific and they look at personal needs. So for each of these, between the PDP plan and the unit plan, teachers will have specific goals that they're able to reflect on and meet, and the administrators will talk them through those things, and they'll really get to see those personal needs and their strengths will be highlighted, and they'll also get to work on some of those weaknesses that they may have. And then finally, the evaluation system is timely and it's aligned and easy to interpret. So between the different number categories and then also the feedback, teachers are able to see a lot of that information and in a timely and organized fashion. As far as advantages for students, there are going to be several. And first is that we'll have effective teachers in the classroom. As teachers are able to self-reflect and get feedback on their teaching, they'll become better, which is great for our students because then students learn more and they're learning from great teachers. Learning environments are created to improve student performance, so the classroom really becomes a good place for students to learn. Instructional strategies will improve leading students problem solving and increase critical thinking skills. So we want students to think critically and we want them to think at a high level, and this program will really allow for teachers to see where they're able to do that. Students will become more confident, self-sufficient, and achievement-oriented, meaning that they'll set goals for themselves and will see the progress that they make throughout the course of the semester and the school year. Active learners will be created, monitoring their learning process through effective and meaningful feedback, because teachers will be able to see feedback that's good in their own evaluations. We believe through NEE, the district will be able to see students actually able to monitor their own feedback and see how that can help them improve. And finally, the level of engagement increases and learning is extended for students through continuous collaboration by completing activities that promote higher levels of thinking. So because of the collaboration that will happen in the classroom, both between student to student, but also student to teacher, and that use of feedback, we really believe that the NEE system will help teachers to promote that higher thinking in their classrooms. It's been a pleasure to speak to you this evening, and I hope that you've learned a lot about how the district plans to implement new teacher standards and also a new teacher evaluation system that will be particularly used in our high schools. And it's been a pleasure speaking to you. Thank you so much.